What if water never tries to fertilize anything? And yet, wherever it arrives, life expands. What if deserts are not infertile, only waiting to remember what they once were? Today, Old Billy invites us to look beyond effort, sacrifice, and purpose, and to recognize ourselves as what we have always been, part of the whole.
When the fog descended, silence settled over the village after the discovery of Old Billy's departure. His notes were left stacked, serving as entertainment for the locals who chose to share them with others.
Number 050. Part of the whole. I have already written about the joy of the spring of water in witnessing the blooming of the date palm as a result of its effort to remain open in what was considered an infertile land. But what truly drives this spring of water to make such an effort? Well, first, let me clarify that there is no effort at all in being the truth of oneself. The spring of water is essentially water, and the broader answer lies in the fact that the water present there was not born there, as it may seem. It comes from far away, accumulating experiences and incorporating elements that challenge the very concept of fertility. The water that reaches that sand is the same water that nourishes the most fertile lands for cultivation. It is also the same water from which salt is extracted and does not differ from the water that flies above us in the form of clouds. It is the water of the rivers, the water in human bodies, and everything else that is liquid or simply moist. Water is all of this at once and can remember itself wherever it is, regardless of its momentary and singular condition. Even when polluted or poisoned, water knows it is fertile, that harmful substances will not withstand its power to heal itself with the help of nature's filters along its continuous journey. For water, there is no such thing as an unsuitable or polluted land, no such thing as effort or sacrifice in being what it is. When water travels through the underground stones of Africa, heading north toward the equator as if drawn to the sun, it brushes against the hardest, purest, most diamond-like coal, an intricate molecular structure. That pure water is also a part of itself and absorbs the effects of gold and other metals embraced along its path. Furthermore, the water that ascends is the same water that descends from the North Pole, flowing through Europe, gathering the colors of flowers and the flavors of fruits, as if nature itself insists on recording the successful history of life's expansion upon the Earth's crust. Thus, for water, infertility is not a concern. It knows that wherever it arrives, someone will be there, thirsty. And as it travels within the waste of animals, so too will seeds, protected within their shells, reach new lands. For water, there is no difference between a fertilized garden and a salt dune. It absorbs and transfers properties from the entire body of the earth, distributing nutrients and ensuring balance. Water does not have a single function to fulfill. Nourishing plants is not its exclusive priority, nor can fertility be restricted to just that. Water is a mineral that catalyzes other minerals in a process where time follows a different measure. Water is also composed of air and receives countless pieces of information from it to sustain this notion of wholeness. Brushing our teeth or washing our hair, we forget that we are in contact with the most powerful force on the planet. Everything seems cheap and weak, but it is not. And we ourselves are not so insignificant. We forget that we have the same connection resources as water and that we can eliminate from our experience the concepts of limitation or infertility. We can better understand that opening up like a spring of water in the sands of a desert does not mean being obligated to create gardens. Although oases are a natural consequence, springs of water exist to exchange elements, expand balance, and lay the foundations for life's continuous growth in all its forms. That is the driving joy of reaching places where such exchanges are still in their early stages. Let us not forget that, in ancient times, those very deserts were once covered in water. Wow. When water emerges from the golden sands of the desert, it is not just the spring of water that rejoices. It is life itself breathing in happiness at its own expansion. and all the connected elements are committed to ensuring the greatest benefit from this event. All the necessary nutrients will eventually arrive there. And one day all humans will consciously connect to this truth. Is life that goes on.
Hey folks, I know that what I'm about to say is going to sound pathetic, ridiculous, absurd, and intellectually impoverished to most of you. Even so, I want to go through this embarrassment for the sake of those who, like me, lack the proper vocabulary to express themselves. As you know, I studied accounting, and in college, we only had one semester of philosophy and ethics, with a light touch of sociology and psychology. There, I never came across a professor who convinced me they were truly wise, let alone inspiring like you all. So, forgive my ignorance, here goes. I get it. I know without a doubt what old Billy meant by part of the whole. But the thing is, I'm not capable of explaining this understanding in words. So here comes the absurd part. I started to feel like I was part of the water, and for a brief moment, I also felt like I was part of everything the water touched throughout the description in the text. This is something completely different from anything I've ever known about myself. Is this what they call brainwashing? My husband is worried, saying that I'm part of a guru-less cult. But what I do know is that I know what I know, I just don't know how to explain it.
Aye, Ivy, my dear, your distress has been described in a way that is commonly found in so-called acts of faith, when a person believes without the need for proof. Perhaps that's why your husband is concerned. Others might label this moment as escapism and send you to a psychiatrist who would recommend a good few years of therapy. But setting my diplomas aside in this area, I'd say you're beginning to see at a frequency below 13 Hz, and in doing so, bypassing cognitive language. In other words, you are expanding your ability to perceive what is called living consciousness. And don't worry about learning to explain this to others. It will be useless, a waste of energy, and will only harm your reputation. They will call you crazy, dumb, fanatical, an ignorant person running from reality. But the best part is that they don't know that if you've gone mad, you've become a madwoman in very good company. Now, let's hear what Dr. Ada has in her analysis.
Hello, everyone. I must confess that I'm feeling a bit disoriented by Dr. Gravana's participation, though I mean that in the best possible way. Just a few weeks ago, my colleague Dustin Gravana was the very embodiment of skepticism, never hiding his discomfort with the abstract aspects of old Billy's notes. Today, he surprises us with an unprecedented openness to new possibilities, a positive attitude that even the most fundamentalist agnostics wouldn't defend so well. Congratulations, Dr. Gravana. We are all in very good company here. I believe what we've just witnessed speaks louder than any analysis I could offer. But nonetheless, here is my study on this note. Broad analysis of the text part of the whole. The text part of the whole is a deeply metaphorical and philosophical reflection on the nature of water as an element that transcends physical limitations and serves as a symbol for interconnectedness, resilience, and the continuous flow of life. Here is a comprehensive analysis of its key themes, structure, and deeper meanings. 1. Core themes: interconnectedness and universality. The text presents water as a universal force that exists in all forms and places: rivers, clouds, deserts, human bodies, and more. This metaphor extends beyond the physical properties of water to illustrate a deeper truth. Everything in existence is part of a continuous cycle, and nothing is truly isolated. Just as water travels and connects different environments, All beings and elements of life are interwoven in an ongoing exchange of energy, resources, and meaning. Resilience and transformation. Water's journey is not always smooth. It moves through hard coal, absorbs minerals, and encounters pollutants. Yet, it does not resist these challenges. Instead, it adapts, purifies, and continues to nourish life. This mirrors human experience. Struggles and hardships do not define us, but rather, how we navigate them determines our ability to grow and transform. The text suggests that just as water purifies itself over time, individuals can also cleanse themselves from limiting beliefs and negative influences. Redefining fertility and potential. A key idea in the text is that the concept of fertility should not be narrowly understood as the ability to grow plants or create visible abundance. Instead, fertility is a dynamic state in which resources are exchanged, balance is maintained, and potential is unlocked over time. The desert, often seen as barren, is not infertile. It is simply waiting for the right elements to interact. Similarly, people or circumstances that appear unproductive may hold hidden potential that requires the right conditions to emerge. Self-recognition and purpose. The text emphasizes that water does not struggle to be itself, simply is. It does not question its role or seek validation. It naturally follows its course. This serves as a powerful analogy for human existence. Embracing one's nature, rather than forcing an artificial sense of purpose, leads to true fulfillment. When people recognize their innate qualities and align with their essence, they become active participants in the larger flow of life. Sacrifice versus natural contribution. A striking distinction made in the text is between effort and natural contribution. The spring of water does not struggle to make the desert bloom. Its very presence facilitates growth and transformation. This challenges traditional notions of sacrifice and suffering as necessary for contribution. True impact comes from being authentically oneself and allowing that essence to radiate outward. 2. Structural and stylistic elements. Metaphorical and symbolic language. The text is rich in poetic imagery and natural metaphors, primarily using water as a symbol for consciousness, vitality, and expansion. Other natural elements such as coal, gold, air, and desert sands serve to illustrate various aspects of transformation and balance. Fluid and expansive structure. Mirroring its subject matter, the text flows organically rather than following a rigid, argumentative structure. It moves from one idea to another seamlessly, much like water itself, reinforcing the theme of natural progression and interconnectedness. Philosophical and reflective tone. The writing does not aim to provide a conventional argument or a scientific explanation. Rather, it invites contemplation. The tone is both mystical and insightful, encouraging the reader to shift their perspective on life, nature, and self-awareness. 3. Broader implications. Environmental perspective. From an ecological standpoint, the text subtly highlights the importance of water as a life-sustaining force and suggests that nature operates in cycles that humans should respect and learn from. It indirectly challenges the notion of scarcity by suggesting that balance and renewal are inherent in nature when elements are allowed to flow naturally. Spiritual and existential interpretation. On a spiritual level, the text aligns with philosophies of oneness, energetic exchange, and universal flow. The idea that everything is connected, that struggle is unnecessary when one aligns with their true essence, and that contribution happens naturally resonates with many spiritual traditions. Psychological and personal growth perspective. Psychologically, the text offers insights into self-acceptance, resilience, and personal transformation. It encourages individuals to embrace change, let go of restrictive mindsets, and recognize their intrinsic ability to contribute to the world in meaningful ways, simply by being themselves. For conclusion, Part of the Whole is a beautifully layered piece of writing that transcends a simple discussion about water. It serves as a metaphor for existence, transformation, and the interconnected nature of all things. It challenges limiting perspectives on effort, fertility, and purpose, offering a more fluid and holistic understanding of how life unfolds. Whether interpreted through the lens of philosophy, spirituality, psychology, or environmental consciousness, the message remains powerful. Life moves forward, and everything, including us, is part of a greater, flowing whole.
Hello, my friends. Allow me to repeat a passage from Dr. Ada's analysis. The writing does not aim to provide a conventional argument or a scientific explanation. Rather, it invites contemplation. The tone is both mystical and insightful, encouraging the reader to shift their perspective on life, nature, and self-awareness. I believe we have seen this happen here today, in the minds and hearts of those who did not find conventional arguments, and in the one who set aside limited science to allow themselves to contemplate living life. And you all know what that is, don't you? That is life that goes on. Thanks, Jessica. Dr. Gravana, Dr. Ada Champ. Thanks, everyone.